Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Ohio.
In the park tonight at Great American Ballpark. Even Chris Welsh brought his little one of his two down to the old ballpark tonight. How about that? And we welcome you to Great American Ballpark. There's Bubbles. What's the deal with the red feet?
Hey, ready for opening day. It looks like it's going to last her all year long.
She's looking good. Round two, the Rockies and the Redlegs tonight. Reds trying to end this 9-game losing streak. And hi again, everybody, alongside Chris Welsh and Jim Day. We welcome you to Bowtie Tuesday here at the old ballpark. Excited to see Michael Lorenzen back in the starting rotation. He's made a couple of outings as a reliever of late, but now back and making his fourth start of the year.
Well, Tom, you knew it was going to happen sooner or later. I mean, after all, you've got this kind of talent and you're a top-round draft pick. Those combinations usually get you a chance in the major league sooner than later. Unfortunately, it was at the expense of Johnny Cueto not being able to make his start. But he's been very impressive in my book, Lorenzen has. You know, you're going to have some rookie jitters. You're going to have pitches that you don't have great command of. Remember, he doesn't have a lot of innings on his arm, either as a college player or a pro. He's in the learning mode, but my oh my, he's got a terrific ceiling.
The Rockies, meanwhile, were supposed to have started De La Rosa here tonight, but they have brought up a young man who went to the University of Kentucky in Chris Rusin.
Well, we've seen Rusin along the years, Tom, pitching on and off of the Chicago Cubs. He spent 7 years in the minor leagues. He gets a call up here. He's a guy that is not overpowering by any means. He's going to throw a lot of sinkers, cutters, changeups, just more kind of pitch to contact and hope his defense does some tricks behind him. But he's a guy that if he throws the ball well, hey, they figure him to be like good fifth starter and keep his team in the ballgame.
Now, some of the Reds have had very good success against left-handed pitchers, just to name three of them, Cozart, Votto, and Bird. They'll need those guys tonight.
Well, you would expect Joey Votto to be on that list no matter who's pitching out there. But Zach Cozart, yes, he looks much more comfortable against lefties. And Marlon Bird really much more so. In fact, that batting average against righties continues to go up a little bit. But he stands at the plate against lefties, and you can see a little special gleam in his eye.
All right, when we come back, Jim Day will tell you about a couple of red-hot hitters in the lineup for their respective clubs tonight. Jay Bruce and Nolan Arenado.
Maybe a few thunderstorms around the ballpark early on, but skies will become partly cloudy. 76 falling down to 71. See the ball, hit the ball. Get the ball, pitch the ball. Double up the middle. Get them on, get them over, get them in. And you enjoy the game on Fox Sports Ohio.
A 9-game losing streak. And they'll do so tonight with a guy in the middle of that Rockies lineup that they certainly need to stop. Nolan Arenado can not only flash the leather, he's a 2-time Gold Glover. Man, was he making some plays last night along with his teammates. But the plate as well. 7 hits, 7 runs batted in, and 4 runs in the last 2 games for Arenado. He is certainly a weapon that the Reds will have to deal with, including right there, hitting a home run yesterday where he went down and got it. Now, a silver lining for the Cincinnati Reds would be Jay Bruce. It was an awful start to the season. Starting to heat up now. Look at the numbers. Over the last 8 games, 467 average, including 5 multi-hit games. Bruce hitting 4th tonight, and they need number 32 to continue his hot hitting. And they also need Michael Lorenzen to step up to the plate and deliver a good one. Stay with us. 9 straight losses, but today is a new day. This has Todd Frazier. Christopher Negron playing second base tonight. Up next, it's Tom Brenneman and Chris Welsh. All the play-by-play action of Reds baseball.
Cincinnati Reds baseball on Fox Sports Ohio, brought to you by Cincinnati USA Regional Tourism Network. Stay close to CincinnatiUSA.com. By Chevy, check out their award-winning lineup only in your tri-state Chevy dealer. And by Skyline Chili, feeling good. It's Skyline time. Colorado Rockies in town, 18 up, 25 down. They've won 3 in a row. And their lineup tonight: Charlie Blackmon in center, DJ LeMahieu in second, Carlos Gonzalez back in the lineup in right, so too is a shortstop and cleanup hitter Troy Tulowitzki. Arenado down at third with Paulson at first base. A line at third of Nick Hundley, Brandon Barnes, Chris Rusin on the mound. 4th start of the year for the former #1 pick of the Reds, Michael Lorenzen. A 2-way standout player in college, as both an outfielder and a reliever. And he makes his 4th major league start tonight. It's strike 1 to Charlie Blackmon, and we're underway. What do you like about Lorenzen so far, Mr. Wells?
Well, you know, the first thing that strikes me, Tom, is he looks like he's playing catch out there. I mean, you don't see him winding up with a lot of extra effort, falling off the mound, trying to get the ball to the plate as hard as he can. He stays behind the ball. He uses his legs, but it looks like everything is under control. That's why you can teach a kid like this, you know, different pitches, different strategies, because you're just not trying to focus on him throwing strikes.
Lorenzen just turned 23 years young during the winter time at the beginning of this calendar year 2015. Grew up in Anaheim, California. He's fallen behind Blackman 3-1.
They threw that first pitch right in the middle there, nice and relaxed, and is now missed on the next three.
And misses on 4 in a row, and it's a leadoff walk. That's precisely the way Blackman led off the game yesterday. He stole second, went to third on a ground out, and scored on a base hit by Arenado. Take a look at the Reds on defense. Presented by Ford. The only change from the game yesterday, Brandon Phillips re-aggravated the toe injury, which has been bothering him over the last week and a half. So he'll have the night off. Christopher Negron starts in his place. Blackman, you may recall, had 3 stolen bases in the game here yesterday, giving him 10 in 12 attempts so far on the year. Batter DJ LeMahieu having an excellent season offensively, and he won the Gold Glove at second base a year ago. .333 batter, 2 home runs, but has driven in 23 runs. You know, you and I were talking before the game, Chris. You stick Carlos Gonzalez in his lineup. He was sick yesterday, although not off to a good start. Their perennial all-star shortstop, Troy Tulowitzki, got a rare day off yesterday. You put those guys in this lineup. If they got Dickerson in this lineup right now, he's on the disabled list, and Morneau, it's a scary lineup.
You'd have to say that this is one of the top 3 offensive lineups in baseball, at least in the National League. I mean, when you get Corey Dickerson, who many are predicting that he's going to end up winning a batting title, so he's probably the best hitter you never really heard of very much. Tulowitzki, he's struggling a little bit this year, but boy, he's got a great track record.
Gone swinging is LeMahieu, and that's out number 1.
Heated up in a hurry is Michael Lorenzen, our Cholula flamethrower tonight. 96 miles an hour out of that strong right arm of Michael Lorenzen.
So that'll bring to the plate Carlos Gonzalez. We mentioned off to a very slow start. Just a .206 batter, 4 home runs and 13 runs batted in. It's hard to believe this guy's now 29 years old. Came up originally in the Arizona Diamondbacks organization, was traded to Oakland for 1 year, and then traded to Colorado in 2009, where he nearly won a National League Most Valuable Player. He was running neck and neck, you may remember, with Joey Votto in 2010. Votto, of course, won the award. But ever since then, he's had a hard time staying on the field. The same holds true for Tulowitzki. Neither one of them has played more than 110 games over the last 2 seasons. Gonzalez played in just 70 a year ago. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Well, if you're the Rockies and you're paying the kind of money that you're paying Tulowitzki and Gonzalez, it's one thing not getting production, but it's another entire thing not getting even any playing time out of them. That means you have to pay somebody else to take their place while you're still paying them, and it kind of hamstrings what you could do elsewhere, maybe in the free agent market. So they're talking perhaps about breaking those guys up, finding if there's any suitors out there to see if they can lighten the load financially.
In 2014, Gonzalez marred by multiple injuries, had 2 surgeries, one to remove a tumor on his left index finger in June, and then he was shut down in August. with a left knee patella tendon tear.
And those are the kind of injuries. I mean, he's not just a one-way player. He's an all-around great player. Terrific defender. One of the best arms in baseball. Gets good jumps on the ball. Good base runner. And, of course, he hits and hits for power. But when you start having leg injuries, that etches away at your ability to do some things.
Reds caught a break there on a ball back up through the middle, and Cozart there to turn the double play. So a nice start for Michael Lorenzen after a leadoff walk. Reds are coming up. Bottom half of the first inning, Brian Price's starting lineup reads as follows, presented by Meyer. Cozart, Votto, Frazier the top. Jay Bruce, Brian Pena, Marlon Byrd in the middle. Nate Cronin second, Lorenzen batting eighth. Billy Hamilton again bats ninth, second night in a row. Brian Price has tried that strategy. Chris Russin grew up in Michigan, but pitched collegiately at the University of Kentucky.
He did indeed, and he's also pitching in major leagues for the Chicago Cubs, the team that drafted him back in 2009. Fourth-round pick. Not an overpowering left-hander. He's going to move from the he'll pitch from the third base side of the rubber. And anytime a left-hander pitches from the third base side of the rubber, it tells you right away that he relies a lot on his sinking fastball down and away to right-handers, and also a changeup going down and away. Gives him the best angle there.
Liner, was that caught or is that short hopped? It was caught by the third baseman Arenado. We mentioned yesterday he is the reigning back-to-back winner of the National League's Gold Glove Award at third base. And you look at the Rockies on defense, presented by Ford. They have other players that have won Gold Gloves in their career. Tulowitzki, LeMahieu, and Carlos Gonzalez. That's a pretty solid group.
It's a really good defensive ball club. I mean, we talked how good their offense would be, especially if they had some of their missing pieces. But, I mean, even the guys they have out there right now, they can play some real good glove work.
Joey Votto at 286, 7 home runs, has 21 runs batted in, 8 doubles and a triple. Votto 1 for 5 in the game last night. He doubled on the very first pitch, his first at bat. That was after Brian Price had slotted him back into the 2 spot. That's where Votto got off to such a great start this year. His numbers have dramatically decreased on all levels, not only hitting and driving in runs, extra base hits, but his walks and on base percentage way down in the 3 hole. So now back in the 2 spot.
You really wonder what it is, Tom. I mean, some guys react to that, and your immediate thinking is, well, it must be because he is happier in the number 2 spot. It's got to be more than that.
There's ball 4 to Votto, and he is a 1-out base runner for Todd Frazier.
I can tell you that Chris Russin does not want a lineup full of guys who are as patient as Joey Votto. with the style that Chris Russin has, he wants hitters up there that are wailing away, that are very aggressive, that they think they see the ball and swing hard, and they hope to hit the top of it. But he'd rather have a 3-out decision or 3-pitch decision than go 5 or 6 pitches and show him what he's got.
Frazier hit his 13th home run of the season here yesterday. He has 26 runs batted in, and a breaking ball is down and in. Ball 1 to Todd Frazier. See the numbers for Frazier during this 7-game hitting streak. That batting average is certainly on the rise. Comes up empty there on a pitch up and away. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Todd Frazier. Day game here tomorrow to wrap up this series, and then the Reds, after an off day Thursday, will team up with the hottest team in the National League. Bryce Harper and the Washington Nationals come to town starting Friday night. And again, a reminder, Saturday's game is a 4 o'clock start. If you're thinking about coming down to the ballpark, part of our Super Saturdays, giving away a Billy Hamilton bobblehead on Saturday to the first 25,000 fans through the gate. Mentioned Colorado's won 3 straight games for the first time since the 3rd week of April. They're 5-5 in their last 10. We bring that up because that's on the heels of what was an 11-game losing streak for this Rockies team. So you compare it to losing 11 in a row, going 5-5 in your last 10. That's moving light years.
Well, they can look over in that Reds dugout and give empathy like no one else can.
Giants were there earlier this year. Remember when they came in, we talked about their losing streak. And of course, they have really put it together since then. They're now 6 games over 500. And there is strike 3 called to Frazier. Home plate umpire Todd Tischenor bringing him up. 2 away in the inning.
Little comeback fastball. We see right-handers throw this a lot, but that's what this pitch looked like as well. Frazier thought it was going to be inside and had just enough comeback action to catch the corner.
Jim Day told you a short while ago that Jay Bruce, red hot right now, has hit safely in 7 of his last 8. That's 14 hits in his last 30 at bats, including 2 doubles and 2 home runs. His batting average has gone from 162 up into nearly the mid-220s.
And you wonder what adjustment it is that makes Jay Bruce all of a sudden see the ball bigger, hit the ball harder, and hit the ball out of the ballpark.
Well, he hooks this one down the right field line, and it is Votto off to the races. Getting the ball now is Gonzalez. They're going to hold Votto at third. And they fired to third, and Votto able to get back. Jim Riggleman initially started to wave him in and then threw up the stop sign, and Votto able to get back after a double by Jay Bruce.
Well, that's why Riggleman, the third base coach, moved way down the line right here. This ball hooked into the right field corner. Jay Bruce just puts another good part of the bat on it. That throw at the very end of the play right there, long after Riggleman had the go sign and then the stop sign. But you'll see third base coaches do that. They run about halfway down towards home plate and have the option of putting the stop sign up and get on and get back there. The Reds in a good spot to drive a couple of runners in here.
Well, they'll need a 2-out hit from Marlon Byrd, or Brian Pena, I beg your pardon. Byrd waiting in the on-deck circle. Pena batting right-handed. That takes off the inside part of the plate. Ball 1. Pena 1 for 3 in the series opener. We're going to see a lot of Brian Pena. It's starting to look like that again this year after the injury to Devin Mesoraco, finally placed on the disabled list prior to the game yesterday. Soft liner caught, and the inning is over. Red Strand 2. We go to inning number 2. Scoreless. Is our T-Mobile game changer, especially here at Great American Ballpark. In 23 career games, check out these numbers for Tulowitzki. Wow. 21 runs scored, has knocked in 19 and hit 9 bombs.
And that's why I was so stunned when he was not in the starting lineup yesterday. I know that he's scheduled for certain numbers of days off and so on, but don't you think you told Walt Weiss, well, let's get to a little bigger ballpark and give me a day off? But not in Cincinnati.
We were talking earlier about all the games that Gonzalez has missed and Tulowitzki has missed over the last number of years. Tulowitzki, going back to 2011, has only had 1 year where he played more than 91 games in a season. That's how many he played exactly last year before succumbing to multiple injuries like his running mate. He was off to arguably his best first half of a season in his career. But then we brought up earlier, right around the All-Star break, the second game after the break, he injured his hip. That was in July in Pittsburgh, and wound up missing the rest of the year, requiring surgery to his left hip. And you wonder, is that the same surgery that Devin Mesoraco might have to face? That one dribbles through the infield into center field. A base hit, first of the game for Colorado. Well, for more on that, let's check in with Jim Day.
Interesting conversation that happened before today's game, and it was Devin Mesoraco seeking out Troy Tulowitzki. You just mentioned, is it the same type of surgery? It is that same type of surgery that Tulowitzki had. And I'm not privy to exactly what they were talking about, but it was very obvious the way Tulowitzki was motioning that they were talking about that hip and him coming back from this surgery. So I think Devin Mesoraco doing all his due diligence, trying to get as much information as he can from people that have gone through it. Alex Rodriguez went through this surgery, but it's a different story when you're a catcher with that hip.
Good point there, Jim Day. There's a pop-up by Arenado on the first pitch in his at-bat against Michael Lorenzen, and Cozart over to get it, 1 out. Yeah, that's really the wild card that you just don't know unless there's somebody out there, I don't know, minor league catcher maybe through the years, maybe a guy a number of years ago who was a catcher that had that kind of surgery. And we don't know for sure that is exactly what is in store for Devin Mesoraco. They've tried a number of things so far. Doesn't mean some other things might not work.
Well, what can you do except, you know, if he needs a surgery, get him the surgery, you rehab, and you come back and you find out what you can do. I mean, the ball club can't stress about that any more than they probably already have. They probably looked at every different scenario. He probably stays up at night wondering what it might be because it's his personal major league career at stake. He's in a tough spot. And it just kind of a tough break for him, who is just a throwback, old-fashioned type of hard-nosed ball player that just wants to play ball.
Who really got his first crack to play every day in the big leagues last year. He started off a couple of stints on the DL, did Devin, but he wound up hitting 25 home runs, drove in 80 runs. The home runs were the most by any catcher in baseball, and that was only in 114 games.
And whether he liked it or not, I think he probably did. We'll grow into it, but his leadership role in this ball club has left the void.
3-1 to Ben Paulson, playing in just his 9th game since being brought up from the minor leagues, and he swung the bat very well. Three balls and 2 strikes on Paulson. Neither one of the guys, if perhaps you're not familiar with their names, we introduced you to both of them yesterday, both Paulson and Brandon Barnes. I mean, neither one of these guys are, 24, 23, hot prospects. They're guys that have been in the minor leagues for a number of years as he draws a walk. But with the injuries and so forth that Colorado is playing through right now, both are getting a chance, and so far anyway, both are making the most of it.
And that's why those little deals that you make in the wintertime, you pick a guy up off of this waiver, maybe you pick a Rule 5 draft deal, you make a minor league trade or two, and most fans look at him and say, well, yeah, that's not a deal that will ever impact my big league team. But you really never know, and who you have on that roster in AAA is so important. When you need to go down there and you say, hey, we need a guy who can hit left-handed, who you got? And they hope the answer is, we got a good guy for you.
A single and a walk, 1 out here in the Colorado 2nd inning of a scoreless game. And here's a catcher, the former San Diego Padre, was a Baltimore Oriole for half a year last year, and that's Nick Hundley. Well, you get to Denver and you get to that mile-high altitude. They might be fooling around with the humidor and the baseballs and all that. But my, oh my, you bring Hundley into Denver and all of a sudden he's a 308 hitter.
Well, the humidors and the distance that you hit the ball is one thing, but what you can't do anything about is how those sliders just kind of roll up there instead of snapping off hard like they do at sea level.
Double play ball here if it's all handled cleanly, which it is. And for the 2nd straight inning, Michael Lorenzen gets out of trouble with a double play ball. No score. Reds coming up in the 2nd inning.
Scoreless game at GABP. There was torrential rain in the Cincinnati area today. We were bracing ourselves for a late start tonight. Check out our Elk and Elk storylines. Don't feel sorry for the Reds if you're the Colorado Rockies. Battle of bad weather teams. Look at the Rockies. They've already had 7 rain delays in May. 5 hours, 23 minutes over this past weekend. They've already had 4 games postponed. You look at the Reds numbers. And when it's going bad, it's going bad. The Rockies even experienced a rain delay at Dodger Stadium, which is the rarest of the rares. And their PR director in the press box said, you know what? When the sun comes out at Coors Field, we feel like we've earned it.
Boy, what a weekend it was with the Giants in town, between rain delays, a rain out, doubleheader making it up, and then a rain delay for better than 2.5, nearly 3 hours during the doubleheader.
Yeah. Hey, they had a foot of snow drop in the month of May in Denver. Delayed one of their ball games. They had to truck it all out of there. I mean, you just couldn't push it off to the side. There was so much of it, they had to put it in dump trucks to get it out of there. And then play baseball. Late start to the Little League season.
Well, you're not kidding about that. Marlon Bird will lead things off, and there's a 2-0 breaking ball from Russin, who allowed a walk and a double, but got out of trouble on a final out soft liner to Pena, ending the Reds' first inning. Hard hit ball center field for Marlon Bird.
But Bird looks just so much more confident when he faces a left-hander. Especially a left-hander that's not throwing 98 like Carlos Rodon was throwing when he was with the White Sox up there. But, you know, good solid swing right there. Put the ball in play. Got a base hit. And the Reds have something going again for the second inning.
Christopher Negron has 7 hits and 55 at bats so far this year. And looks at a strike on the outside corner. Here's joining us again. Negron starting in place of Brandon Phillips. Jim Day, I know you and Brandon, we know the relationship the two of you have. You've become so close over these number of years, and you know, he re-aggravated that toe injury, which put him on the shelf for a couple of games a little more than a week ago. Did you get a chance to catch up with him at all today?
And last night he re-aggravated the injury in Cleveland on Saturday, and then last night when he dove after that ball, a very nice catch, re-aggravated it as well then. And he leaned over to me. You know, not many guys will want to talk during the game, but he leaned over to me in the camera well after that diving catch last night and said, man, you cannot believe how bad my toe is hurting. So he is out of there today. It's a rehab day and listed as the dreaded day today. And you said many times, it's just a painful, painful injury.
Strike 3 called to Negron. Second strikeout. Both looking to right-handed batters.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting the way Russin pitches. It looks like he pitches really backwards, where he pitches outside early in the count to right-handers, and then when he gets to a point where he can strike him out, he'll come inside with that fastball. So he's done it now to Frazier. He's done it to Negron. Hopefully they're taking note of that in the dugout and have an idea of what his sequence likes to be.
Lorenzen in 6 major league at bats has 1 hit. And we know he can swing the bat. They're going to ask him to bunt. And you can't roll it out there any better than that. That's his first major league sacrifice. It advances Bird into scoring position for Billy Hamilton. 2 are out.
Well, you can look at it in a way that, you know, having the pitcher bat in the number 8 spot has already worked out tonight. Michael Lorenzen can hit. We've seen him actually been kept in a ball game, hit and then not go out to pitch the next inning. In fact, it was a fairly tight ball game right there. But him in the number 8 spot is all about Billy Hamilton and not about Michael Lorenzen.
Well, Billy delivered the goods. You may remember in the game yesterday with a 2-out single that knocked in a run, brought the Reds within a run. That came in the 4th inning. Hamilton wound up 1 of 4 in the game. And that one is into right field, a base hit. They are going to wave around the runner. Here's a throw. It's up line and safe as a call. 1-0 Reds. Well, that's aggressive third base coaching there with 2 outs in the inning by Jim Riggleman.
Well, it makes a lot of sense to be aggressive in that case. It also makes sense to be aggressive when you got a guy that runs as hard as Marlon Byrd. Maybe not as quick as he once was. But you take a shot right there. The throw had to be perfect. And you're looking at one of the guys with the best arms in all of baseball out there. And he shows it there just a little bit high and up the line. And Byrd comes in with run number 1.
And good 2-out hitting there by Billy Hamilton.
Yeah,
he's knocked in runs in each of the last 2 games.
You're right. That's the kind of play that if you're a right fielder, Jay Bruce is in this category, certainly Carlos Gonzalez. When you get a chance to throw a guy out the plate, I mean, you've been waiting for games to do that. I mean, that's your chance right there.
Cozart lines one into left and caught. Nice running grab out there by Brandon Barnes, denying the Reds a second run. But they score a run. And at the end of 2, thanks to Billy Hamilton, it's a 1-0 lead. Tonight's game, we've got another great Fox Sports Ohio ticket offer just for you. You get view-level tickets for just $10 for any game during this weekend's Washington National Series. But you have to go to Reds.com/FSOhio. Use the code FSOhio to get $10 view-level tickets to see the Reds and the Nationals this weekend. A reminder, it's only available this offer tonight. So go get your tickets right about now. Oh, like father, like son there. Here we go in the third. 1-0 Reds in front. Michael Lorenzen delivers a strike to Brandon Barnes. Oh, and 2.
Whoever came up with the idea of a night where you bring your dog to the ballpark, where did that start? Was that San Diego?
I thought the first one I ever saw, and I could be wrong, I thought the first one that I can remember was the Chicago White Sox.
Oh, that would be very believable.
I could be wrong on that. But the Reds now have, what, 4 of them a year. And, you know, Kroger is heavily involved. Imes, of course, local companies. The SPCA, Cincinnati, very, very involved. And they just do a marvelous job, and it's become a very, very popular series over the course of a baseball season. For those of you who don't know, we generally do it during the week. Now look at this. His dog's like, look at that. It's like, you got to be kidding. Like, wait a minute. He's looking at somebody behind him.
There's a hamburger vendor behind him. That's.
I mean, look at that face.
All of them in the whole row.
He's saying, no. Now gone. That's just not fair. Even the scrap. I don't want the water either. Yeah. What happened to the beef? No herbivore there, no omnivore there. It is all about the beef. Now, are you feeding, Bubbles like that, in your diet? Are you mixing in like cucumbers and broccoli and kale and all that kind of thing?
She just doesn't take.
What a surprise!
Doesn't take to that stuff.
No. No.
She would be very happy along with her sister Rusty if we started eating meat again.
Now take a look at this guy.
French fries. That's the second best thing to a hamburger, isn't it?
They'll definitely
Look at
want
his eyes.
Yeah. Oh yeah. 1-2 on Russin.
Russell looks like he handles the bat pretty well. Came pretty close. They had a double down the left field line on the first pitch he saw.
Again on the ground, Votto's way. This time the feed to Lorenzen. Back-to-back ground balls down to Joey. We invite you to follow the Reds all season long with MLB.com at bat. In-game highlights, live look-ins, replay reviews. Get MLB.com at bat for your smartphone or tablet. Todd Frazier in for a quick stop with Lorenzen, who's retired the first two here in the third, looking for his first 1-2-3 inning of the night. Charlie Blackmon for a second time. He led off the game drawing a walk. Well, there is some giddy up on that fastball now from Lorenzen.
And it doesn't really look like he's putting a lot of effort into it. Easy gas.
Fastball at 95, fouled back to the screen by Blackmon. We talked about the series Blackmon had here last year, and as many of you know, when you play outside your division in baseball now, you only play teams in your league outside your division, one home series, one road series. Blackmon may have been the best single series player we saw all year long. And there's a liner right at Jay Bruce to retire the side. Rockies are gone in order, and the Reds lead 1-0.
Here on Fox Sports Ohio. I'm Jim Day. The Reds got some really good news today on the Johnny Cueto front. Following a full examination by Dr. Timothy Krimchek and an MRI, it revealed no structural damage in that elbow. He's been fighting tightness in the elbow. Now, the MRI did require them to make an injection into that elbow. You're not allowed to do anything for 24 hours. Cueto says that he would like to throw tomorrow, but Brian Bryson, the trainers, say they want to make sure they get all the stiffness out of that elbow first before he resumes throwing. He'll throw on flat ground, then in the bullpen, then on the mound. So his next start is up in the air, but that is not even bad news at all when you consider that they had their fingers crossed and they got the news they were looking for today.
Well, it doesn't get much better than that, that's for sure. And hopefully we'll see Johnny out there in the not too distant future. Joey Votto leads things off for the Reds against Russin here in the third. Reds in front 1-0. And a ground out to short after Votto walked his first time up. This is only the 5th inning the Reds have come to bat with a lead in their last 10 games. And all of the other 4 came Saturday in Cleveland when they had that 1-0 lead through the front 4 innings of the game. That was a beautifully pitched game that day by Anthony DeSclafani, locked up against Corey Kluber. That was an encouraging start for DeSclafani. We saw him start off so well, then hit a little bump in the road. That's going to happen. Chris, we talk about it a lot when you're running young pitchers out there, guys that are, you know, pitching in a full season in the big leagues for the very first time. And now his last couple of starts, he's come on and pitched well again.
Well, it looks like he went out. I know they made some mechanical adjustments with him and not flipping and flopping his upper body quite as much. But for me, I think it was all about his confidence and attacking the strike zone and not giving the hitters too much credit. And I think for Anthony, I mean, that goes a long way. I mean, when you're 25 years old, or 24 years old, whatever Anthony is, I think he's right around that area, and you haven't pitched in the big leagues very much, you get knocked around a few games in a row and you're wondering, how long am I going to be here? That you can't help that thought from creeping in.
Frazier called out on strikes for the second consecutive trip to the plate tonight by the home plate umpire Todd Tishner.
So all it takes is a couple of good outings that DeSclafani gave the Reds at his last time up. Well, our box tracks has it at the very top of the strike zone, although Todd would differ.
Two up, 2 down for Russin here in the third. And now it's Jay Bruce. He doubled his first time up, lines out to first this time, and it's a perfect inning for each pitcher in the third. We're off to the 4th, and the Reds hold a 1-0 lead. We have a brand new Reds Weekly coming your way with the All-Star Game just 6 weeks away. The Reds Hall of Fame and Museum has an exhibit that showcases the Midsummer Classic. Pete Rose has some funny and fascinating takes on the clubhouse and pitchers tipping pitches. Of course, Jeff Picoro and Doug Flynn do it every Wednesday. It's called Reds Weekly, and an all-new episode tomorrow at 6 o'clock right here on Fox Sports Ohio. Reds 1, Rockies nothing. First pitch breaking ball hammered in the ground right at Frazier by LeMahieu. That's 5 in a row retired now by Michael Lorenzen.
A lot of first pitch swinging in this ball game. Hitters aggressive early on. Pitching to contact. You know, the next step, I think, for Michael Lorenzen as you watch him, it's not a mechanical adjustment, but you see sometimes he'll get a first pitch in there. Next thing you know, it's 3-1. He'll get another first pitch in there, and then he throws 2 balls. It's all about the mental approach of knowing that every pitch you throw in a ball game has to have meaning to it. And no better way to learn that is to go back and dig up some Greg Maddux tapes and just watch him pitch, how every pitch he threw had a purpose. But when you don't spend that much time in the minor leagues, and when you're gifted with a fastball that goes around 100, sometimes you get to the point where, hey, if I miss with this one, I'll just come back and throw another one. But that formula doesn't always work at this level.
Pretty nice pitch right there.
Boy,
took a little off at 92 to catch the inside corner of strike 2 Gonzalez.
I think the little off is because he throws it with a 2-seam grip. For some reason, those don't register as quick, but it's got some action on it. Well, once this kid figures out how to pitch at 90% effort, and then 95% effort, and then at 80% like Cueto does, you've really got something.
It was really interesting before the ball game. I had a chance to catch up with one of my favorite guys. Played in the big leagues for a long time, and now a scout for the Dodgers. Is Mitch Webster. As there's a ground ball at Votto for the second out of the inning. He's here tonight, and the way scouting has gone in a lot of organizations is you are assigned, say, 5 teams by the Dodgers in this example, and one of the 5 teams might be, in Webster's case, it is the Reds. Now that doesn't only mean you watch their major league club from time to time, but they want you to go down and watch their single-A and double-A teams in particular, and you might switch that up depending on how guys are moving their big prospects inside an organization, in case you're looking down the road of making a deal with a team that might mean you're getting some prospects, and you want your baseball player, your baseball personnel to see those players in person. And Mitch Webster was sharing with us before the game tonight how impressed he was with both the Reds single-A and double-A teams, and especially some of the players that we saw in spring training and talked a lot about, specifically Amir Garrett, Nick Howard, last year's #1 pick out of Virginia, Nick Travieso, another #1 pick, pitcher, position players Kyle Waldrop, Jesse Winker, and Dean Blandino.
Good to know that you're getting kind of a neutral voice.
Yeah,
giving all those guys a lot of high grades. I mean, it's one thing when your own front office says it. You're reading it in one of the publications that are essentially quoting your farm director. But when somebody has no skin in the game, says, hey, you guys got a bunch of talent down here, that's really good to hear.
Now, in the case of those 3 pitchers I just mentioned, all 3 have had a tough time with their command. But Chris, you would know better than anybody, when you're a really young pitcher, isn't that the last thing that seems to come together more times than not?
Yeah, because you probably have a delivery that's not repeatable. And that just comes with innings, experience, and being your own pitching coach, learning a little bit about pitching so that you can kind of coach yourself in and out of little mini streaks in the middle of a game.
I'll tell you, Michael Lorenzen's got it going on tonight. I mean, this is a good hitting Colorado team. And he's now retired 7 in a row and right through the heart of the order in the 4th. Reds lead 1-0. By your local Ford dealer, Ford, go further. And by Cincinnati Children's, ranking 3rd in the country on the U.S. News and World Report's best children's hospitals in America. It's turned into a lovely night. We have been blessed with such incredible weather here over the last couple of weeks. Finally got much needed rain before the game tonight. Bark in the Park night. 2 of 4 on the docket here at Great American Ballpark this summer. Reds have a 1-0 lead as they bat against Chris Russin here in the last of the 4th inning. Russin retired Votto, Frazier, Bruce in order after the Reds got a 2-out single by Billy Hamilton to drive in Marlon Byrd for the game's only run in the 2nd inning. Cubs and Nationals, an early start at Wrigley in Chicago. 1-0 Cubbies. After the Nationals won the opener of that series, a couple of red hot teams squaring off in Chicago. Cardinals rallied late to beat Arizona by a run last night. They'll play again tonight at Busch Stadium. They have a very good scoreboard stumper tonight. 4 players have won a National League Gold Glove award in their rookie season. Now, generally, they ask these questions to tie it into someone who's at the ballpark on any given night. And that would hold true here tonight.
And a Reds connection.
If they can, that's true, too. And both of those would hold true.
Now we're worried about the other 2.
Really worried about the other 2. There's ball 4 to Pena, and that's the way it starts for the Reds. Here in the 4th inning, if a Red hits a home run off that Toyota sign in right center tonight, Dan Hensley from Batavia out east will win this beautiful new Tundra. And you can register for your chance to win at an upcoming game. Just stop by your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealer. Batavia, Ohio, right off Route 32 out of Claremont County. Bouncer down to the Gold Glove winning 3rd baseman Arenado. He'll take the out at 2nd. So Bird on the fielder's choice at first, 1 out of the inning.
Bird got a pitch his last time to kind of get his arms extended out over the plate. That time Russin came right inside with a first pitch fastball and got him in on the hands. You know, every right-hander in his lineup, and I guarantee you Todd Frazier's thinking this right now with 2 strikeouts to his credit. Man, oh man, tonight we're getting to face a left-hander, tops out around 88, 89. Don't have to worry about going up there and facing somebody throwing 98 with a hard slider going away from you. But it takes just as much concentration with a pitcher like Russin out there as it does a guy that has better stuff. You could take a comfortable 0 for 4 and look up and wonder what happened.
Well, it's going to be 0 for 2 for Negron. He lifts a fly ball in the center field. Out number 2. Bird will stay put, bluffing the tag.
And that comfortable 0 for 4 really means, well, I saw every pitch in the at bat, and they all looked hittable. I didn't get any hits.
Lorenzen put down a sacrifice which helped lead to the Reds' only run, the game's only run in that second inning. He butted Marlon Byrd from first to second for the second out of the inning. And then Billy Hamilton dropped one into right field and plated Byrd. 1 run, 3 hits for the Reds, no runs, 1 hit for Colorado. Back up the middle, hit off the top of the mound and right into the glove of DJ LeMahieu. Goes to the bat for the 4th out inning over. We played 4. It's still 1-0 Reds.
Go back to work for Cincinnati here at Great American Ballpark. I'm Jim Day. Michael Lorenzen is as big a workout warrior as you will find in baseball. Now, I asked him what gets him into the zone to pitch, and he says it's a video that he watches. And it's a video of himself in the offseason. He posted a couple of YouTube videos. Actually, look them up. They're incredible. It'll show you the hard work that he goes through. The guy's chiseled out of granite. I said, why do you do this? And he said, it reminds me of the hard work that I put in to get to this point, and it motivates me. Now, I know some people out there would say, boy, that's awfully self-serving. Trust me when I tell you, getting to know Michael Lorenzen, one, he's not a self-glorifying guy. The video has motivated others, and those detractors out there, to him, it's just noise.
Well, a very impressive night so far for Mr. Lorenzen. He's only allowed 1 hit. I can't believe I just saw that video.
That was unbelievable.
Yeah, it really is.
I mean, those are plyometrics, right?
I don't know what they're called, but he just jumped really high, flat-footed.
And I can see why he would watch that, because, you know, if you work hard enough, you believe you deserve the success. Sometimes if you don't work hard and you get the success, you're thinking, well, maybe I really don't deserve it. I'm seeing these other guys working harder than me, and I'm doing better. Maybe I'm just lucky. And that's when the doubt creeps in. It's all about having confidence in yourself. Of course, he's got some arms on him, too.
No doubt about it.
Man.
And as Jim Day has talked about, I mean, every time that Michael Lorenzen is quoted, you know, he's a deeply religious young man. And Jim interviewed his mom, who was here in his first major league game, and talked about how his mom and his brother are, you know, people of great faith, and that's the way this young man was raised. Swung and pulled foul and out of play, 1 ball and 2 strikes to Arenado. It's the top of the 5th inning. Lorenzen's thrown 53 pitches. He's allowed just 1 hit. He walked the first batter of the game. Got a strikeout, a double play, allowed a single, a pop up, and a walk. 2 on, 1 out in the second, got a double play, and that started a run of 7 straight retired by Lorenzen coming into this 5th inning. 2-2. Straight up, should be 8 in a row retired by Michael Lorenzen. Bird will squeeze it tightly. Paulson, the last Rocky to reach base when he drew the 1-out walk in the 2nd inning. Starts him off speed on the outside corner with strike 1 at the knees.
That's an impressive pitch.
Then you come right back at 94.
And there's about a 10-mile-an-hour difference really between those two pitches, and it's so difficult for a hitter just coming out of the on-deck circle to make that adjustment. Hey, you look up and you're down 0-2.
That time spun the breaking ball up there at 80 miles per hour, and it's fouled out of play off to the third base side. It remains no balls and 2 strikes.
That's all you ask of your starters, right? Have 3 pitches that you can control. Wow. How about that? He shook off Brian Pena to finally get to that pitch. I think it's impressive that Pena or Brian Price or Jeff Pico, whoever it may be, or all of them are kind of behind Lorenzen saying, yeah, you call your game out there. Nicely done.
Two up, 2 down here in the Rockies' 5th inning, and now Hundley, who bounced into a double play, ending the 2nd inning.
You know, to have Michael Lorenzen come out and pitch like he has so far this year, Tom, and we're still in the early part of the year, but that really should fire up some of those minor league pitchers that we were talking about earlier. Because really the only difference between any of them and Michael Lorenzen is command of those pitches.
That's what we were talking about for those of you that weren't with us earlier in reference to scout Mitch Webster, played in the major leagues for a long time, and talking about how impressed he was with 3 young hurlers in the Reds minor league system that he just recently saw. And you went up and looked at Amir Garrett's last game. That probably was the game that Mitch Webster was in attendance.
Yeah, I looked at some video too, because he's had some control problems, although in his last game for Daytona, he went 6 innings, gave up a run, only walked 1.
That one is launched into left field, and it's a tie ball game. So on a 1-2 pitch, Hundley lays into one, his 5th of the year. That snaps a string of 9 in a row retired by Lorenzen. 1-1 here in the 5th.
That just goes to show you, you know, down in Daytona, you make a mistake, they may not launch it, but they do here. And he went to that well 1 too many times perhaps on the changeup and just got it out over the plate. I believe it was a changeup. Yep, it was.
Pulled foul by Brandon Barnes, strike 1.
Yeah, I'll never forget that the saying there. Baseball's full of old sayings. There was an old scout and player and manager, Bertie Tebbetts. I'm sure you've heard of Bertie Tebbetts, who was a tremendous scout for the Yankees for a long time after he got out of his playing and coaching days. And one of his favorite sayings was, don't fall in love with the sugar. Meaning your bread and butter is your fastball. Your off-speed stuff is the sugar, but don't fall in love with it. Remember where you keep it. And you only use it every once in a while.
Got to cut it loose. Kozar does. What a nice play that is by Zach Kozar. The home run ball by Hundley ties the game. It's 1-1 after 4 1/2.
Great Fox Sports Ohio ticket offer for you. Get view level tickets for just $10 for any game this week against the Washington Nationals. Go to Reds.com/FSOhio and use the code FSOhio to get the $10 view level tickets to see Bryce Harper and the rest of the Nationals. This offer is only for tonight, so get those tickets now. Boys, the way Bryce Harper's going, he's worth the price of admission right there.
That's a good deal there.
It's a really good deal. So jump on it right now. Billy Hamilton will lead things off in the Reds' 5th inning of a 1-1 game. Hamilton knocked in the only Reds run, a 2-out single to right in the 2nd inning. You know, you brought up Bernie Tebbetts. And many remember, of course, he was a manager for the Cincinnati Reds. As that one is a bouncer by the mound, Tulowitzki will throw out Hamilton. Gabe Paul hired Tebbetts to replace Rogers Hornsby as manager of the Cincinnati Reds. In 1954, first 2 years they finished in 5th place. Then they finished 3rd in 56. They were in 1st place in midseason, stayed in the pennant race until the last day of the year. They won 91 games. There was no wild card. There was no, 2nd place team. There weren't divisions back then. You either won the pennant or you didn't. He was named the manager of the year in 1956. The following year, he was on the cover of Time magazine. The Reds were off to such a great start. They faltered in that 57 year. They let him go a couple of years later. But, you talk about some of the players and some of the stories about him. As that ball is a base hit into center field by Kozar. In 1957, Frank Robinson gave Tebbetts credit for his performance during that year, saying, "He kept after me all year." And that's what a young ball player needs, a manager to stay on them all year long. But my favorite story, and I'd heard this years ago, I'd forgotten about it till I just looked it up. There was a story about Tebbetts when he was playing, and his recollection of an umpire who had suffered dizzy spells following his return from war, the World War. And the umpire was terrified about losing his job. And Tebbetts was terrified this umpire was going to lose his job because Tebbetts liked it. The umpire asked Tebbetts, who was a catcher for the Detroit Tigers at the time, to help him call the balls and strikes during the course of the game. He was so dizzy. So Tebbetts would tip him off with hand signals after every pitch so the guy could keep his job. Tells you a lot about him.
Sure does. And he went on for many years to be a scout after that. And one of the other cool stories I have about him is that when he would scout a pitcher, he would judge the pitcher rather than the whole game, say this guy's got this stuff and that stuff. He would judge them by inning. What was the first inning? A, B, C, D, or F? What was the second inning? So a pitcher could go out and throw a good game, but lose 4-3 by having only 2 bad innings and 7 really good innings. So if you're looking forward and trying to project a player like that, maybe that's just a different way of taking a look at things.
Well, he was a guy, you talk about pitchers, he was a guy that Reggie Jackson would credit. It was the Tebbetts scouting report for helping him hit 3 home runs in Game 6 of the 1977 World Series. Holy Moses. Thrown behind Votto. That will enable Kozar to advance on to second base.
But usually when you throw the ball behind the hitter, he's going to back right into it. Votto almost does that.
He'll score that a wild pitch.
Good call.
Mike Cameron all over it next door. Mike's all fired up about the Moeller Crusaders, where he won a number of state championships as their longtime legendary head coach. And they are down to the regional semifinals starting on Thursday. They'll play Lakota West. And apparently, I guess Lakota has some pitcher. Coach Cameron was telling me before the game. 4-year starter, throws 92 to 94. One of the most coveted players in the entire state of Ohio, both by professional scouts and collegiate scouts. One and two to Votto, trying to snap a 1-1 game here in the bottom of the fifth.
But with a runner on second base, they don't have the advantage of putting the Votto shift on. Arenado made the play to ground out. He was standing about here last time that Joey Votto went up and hit a ground ball right to him.
Pulled out LeMahieu this time, who throws out Votto. On the third goes Cozart. 2 out. Well, Todd Frazier, our profile on IGS, bringing the energy. Number of at-bats per home run. Frazier's numbers in each of the last 3 years, from 27 to 20 this year to 12. And to get to 13 home runs in a season took him 59 games last year.
Well, he's not been happy with his at-bats so far tonight. Called for strike 3 each time. He's got a little scowl working tonight.
What's what happens when you get called out on strikes twice? See if he can turn that into a big smile here with a 2-out knock. 1 ball and 1 strike.
Well, the Rockies are playing their infield back, and I mean way back. They are just trying to make sure that anything on the ground they get to and throw Frazier out at first base.
Russin wanted that call, didn't get it. 2 balls and a strike.
Yeah, there's 2 pitches in a row right on the outside corner. Previous one looked like a breaking ball. He tried to backdoor him with a slider. Then he goes right outside with a fastball right here.
Two balls and a strike. Cozart to go ahead run at third. And off the outside corner once more. 3-1 now to Frazier. Reds scored their run on a 2-out single by Hamilton in the second inning, scoring Bird. A 2-out solo home run by Hundley in the top of this 5th inning. And Cozart hoping to break a 1-1 tie. Leads at third with 2 away. Started 2 laid off, and that's a walk. And here comes Shea Bruce.
Now Russin did not give in, and Frazier did not chase. So that Jay Bruce has had a couple of really good at bats. Has stung the ball twice against this left-hander.
That's Frazier's 20th walk of the season. The only 2 players on the team that have 20 or more are Votto, but he only has 4 more walks now than Frazier on this entire season. And the other is Jay Bruce, who has 21 walks. But when you break it down in those numbers, it's incredible how many walks Votto had the first month and how few he has had since.
Yeah.
One to Jay Bruce. hit that one off the end of the bat foul, and now Russin ahead of Jay Bruce at 1 ball and 2 strikes. Man, when you've lost 9 in a row, every at bats like this one just becomes so important. You're trying to get that monkey off your back. And the Reds could use a base hit in the worst sort of way right here and right now. 1 and 2 to Jay Bruce with 2 on and 2 out. Time is called.
Now, on that same line, Tom, you know, it's easy to think of the consequences of your at bat. What if? What if I pop it up to the pitcher? What if I swing and miss right here? Rather than what, which is put the bat on the ball. Almost a little quick pitch that time by Russin. Russin looked like he came to his set. He did hesitate, but not very much. He could have called him for a balk right there. I think he just kind of surprised everybody with that.
I almost wonder if that's what Jay Bruce said to the umpire. I mean, he may have been asking, was that a strike? But perhaps he's just planting that seed. He stops that time. Cozart, the runner at third base. Over at first, Todd Frazier. 2 are out. Our score is 1-1 in the last of the 5th inning. And now the 1-2 once more coming to Bruce. And once more a foul ball. That's 3 in a row. Well, Bruce is very much in the driver's seat right now, thanks to Kian. Over his last 9 games, his batting average has risen some 66 points. Brought up earlier, he was in the 130s, then got him up to the 160s, kind of took a step back, and now this recent run has him up in the 230 after the base hit tonight.
Well, it's still early enough in the year that you don't have so many at bats that you can't move that thing up pretty rapidly with a hot streak or 2. That number looks funny when you put a decimal in front of it, though, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah. I feel your pain. Believe me. I was glad you were reading that.
Not really. 1 and 2 to count on Bruce. Down the left field line towards the corner and foul.
Well, he's staying back on the ball very nicely. I mean, he's done it on every pitch in this at bat. I'm not saying he's going to get a base hit here, but he's certainly given Russin just about everything that he can handle here.
That's 4 straight pitches in this at bat. Bruce is fouled away after getting to 2 strikes in the at bat.
And he keeps trying to go away with different speed pitches. And you wonder here ahead in the count 1 and 2 whether he's going to come in at any time, or does he trust his fastball enough to come in there and maybe get unjammed.
Eighth pitch in this at bat. Bruce trying to finish it off with a base hit. And now Russin backs off the rubber.
Well, look at Huntley back here. I mean, he's really coaching his pitcher right here.
They came inside for the first time and they strike him out. A hit, 2 left. We've played 5. We're in a 1-1 game.
corner. Chris Russin, who's due to start the inning here, will know that when he was on the mound last inning. He had Jay Bruce at the plate, had thrown pitch after pitch after pitch to Bruce. Now watch Hundley here, the catcher, really trying to coach him through this, saying, I want a fastball. And Russin shakes him off and says, nope, give me another sign right here. And he says, I want a fastball again. And they finally throw a fastball, inner part of the plate. Really wasn't as fast as it seemed, but he threw the inner part of the plate and he got the strikeout and really trusted his catcher right there to make the right call.
All right, so Michael Lorenzen now back out there on the mound in a 1-1 game, and a first pitch breaking ball and a beauty to his counterpart Russin. Back to the top of the order next in Blackman and then LeMahieu. Lorenzen allowed a total of 3 base runners in the first 2 innings, 2 walks and a hit. Got on a roll where he retired 9 in a row, and with 2 outs in the 5th inning on a 1-2 pitch. Left a changeup in the middle of the plate. Hundley hit it into the second deck to tie the game. Boy, and look at the rainbow. I mean, all of a sudden, we had pouring down rain where you could barely see the power stacks out in right center field. Everything is blown out of here. Blue skies above, and a rainbow to cap it off. That ball driven into left field, be caught by Bird, 1 out. Well, we invite shouldn't eat peanuts during the game. You would think you'd learn your lesson by now.
I have. We invite you to get ready for Reds action 30 minutes before every game on Reds Live on Fox Sports Ohio with all the info you need for that day's game. Reds Live presented by Ray St. Clair Roofing.
Keep me away from those things, will you? There's that old thing about defining insanity, right?
It started off okay.
Started off really good. Like to remind you, like to invite you. No, we didn't get through invite. Like to in. Bang. All right, Blackman to bat it. Has walked and lined out hard to Jay Bruce in right. Lorenzen only 73 pitches. We bring that up not because you're worried about where he is in his pitch count, but just because he's been so much more efficient with his pitches so far tonight than in the other 3 starts to begin his major league career.
Yeah, and he always looks like he's under control, but here he looks like he's under control with a little bit of added confidence. I think he and Brian Payne are really on the same page tonight. He's got confidence in his pitches. You know, you wonder where that fastball comes from. And if you watch Lorenzen's delivery, when he gets his left leg up, he has a little bit of a drop on his back leg, and that's where he powers himself off the rubber. Right there.
And that is strike 3 called, 95 on the outside corner.
Right here when he gets that knee bent just a hair and then goes forward. That's where that power comes from. You know, you watch guys on the mound and you wonder if they're using their bodies right. Watch how they fire off the pitching rubber with their foot. If they seem to be dragging their foot, they're probably not getting everything they can out of their delivery.
Wow, that's the beauty there. First pitch curveball to LeMahieu for a strike.
Ooh, that's a yacker.
And the liner back to him. He makes the play. A perfect 6th inning for Lorenzen. Boy, the kid looks good tonight. See if the Reds can get him some runs and get him a win. On the Redlegs, they take on the Nationals starting on Friday night, and Friday through Sunday. That series presented by KOI Auto Parts. We got fireworks Friday, big giveaway on Saturday and Sunday. Call 513-381-REDS. Visit select Kroger locations or log on to reds.com/tickets. And by the way, the Reds, as you look at a beautiful sky above, the Reds at Fox Sports Ohio would love to recognize a few lifelong Reds fans tuned in tonight. Larry and Jane Meibers. I hope I'm saying that name correctly. Meibers. They live up in Mason, celebrating their 69th wedding anniversary. They did so on Labor Day yesterday, and that certainly is fitting. Larry is a World War II veteran who once worked at Crosley Field. Larry and Jane, belated happy 69th anniversary. And how about Mr. Carroll Elliott from Albany, Ohio. Mr. Elliott, we stand and wish you a happy birthday. His 103rd.
Wow.
birthday.
Wow. And thank you for watching us on Fox Sports Ohio. Wow.
Well, that's a special day now for both. All three. Down to third. Pena thrown out.
Does it ever make you nervous knowing that there are Reds fans out there that have been watching and listening to Reds baseball? I mean, since forever ago.
Oh, yeah.
From the days of Bernie Tebbetts.
Oh, yeah.
Not as a manager, but as a player.
You're right. You're right. And there are a lot of them. You know where we really get a chance to meet so many of them? You know, we know about Reds Fest. And, you know, the two of us live here, and so we're around year-round, even in the winter months, and you run into so many just, you know, wonderful, beautiful people. As Purr lifts a fly ball to right, and that'll back up Gonzalez first to the warning track, then comes back in to get it for the second out of the inning.
Well, the ball came off his bat like it really was going to carry, maybe all the way to the seats. But you look up and you see with the rain coming down slightly, there's also a little bit of wind coming in from right to left. And that may have held it up a little bit.
So we've gone from a downpour to
A beer pour.
a rainbow, clear skies, and now this.
I kind of like the clear skies.
Yeah. Now, was that a dog umbrella? Is that what that was? Well, serving is one. See, that's where one of your two Bubbles, who's here tonight, is really living high on the hog. In many, many ways, I might add.
You're right.
Right now, not having to deal with the elements.
Bubbles really doesn't like. She likes it sunny, about 75.
Oh, yeah. That's what it always is inside the Welsh house. Sunny and 75.
On a silk pillow.
Oh,
That
boy.
guy looks like he's happy.
Oh, yeah. That's a good-looking dog right there. 1 ball and 2 strikes on Negron. We're in the bottom of the 6th of a 1-1 game.
He just saw the best fastball that Russin can throw and probably go down and away with a little changeup right here. There's a cutter, and he gets it in there for a strike.
1, 2, 3 for Russin. We're off to the 7th. Both starters are dealing tonight. Russin for Colorado, Lorenzen for the Reds. 1-1 our score.
Here I come.
1 run, 2 hits, no errors. Only 1 runner left on base for Colorado. Reds with 1 run on 4 hits. They've stranded 6. Michael Lorenzen walked 2 batters. 1 in the first, 1 in the second. His only 2 walks in the game. He's fanned 3. You know, you go back to his last 17 innings as a starting pitcher. Lorenzen has allowed a total of 3 runs. And there's his line tonight. This is a big inning here. Through the heart of the order, 3, 4, and 5, and it's the 3rd time through the batting order for the Reds rookie right-hander. 1 pitch, 1 out on the ground ball to Kozar. That's a big one to start it. A light rain continues to fall. Lorenzen only 79 pitches, 1 out into this 7th inning.
You know what I want you to look at here in this at bat, Tom, with Troy Tulowitzki up, is how much he has changed his between pitch routine. This guy used to be a human rain delay. And Major League Baseball actually tracked it as to how long it would be between pitches. And he would walk out of the batter's box. He's got to keep 1 foot in now because he didn't swing at it and didn't foul it. Got 1 foot in, but he would go through all sorts of Sean Casey like tightening up the gloves, looking at the bat to make sure he still had the same bat in his hand. They have cut his average time down between last year and this year significantly. When he broke into the league back in 09 or 08, he averaged 20 seconds between pitches. Last year it was almost 28 seconds between pitches.
Jam shot, fly ball into left field. 4 pitches to get 2 outs through Gonzalez and Tulowitzki. Well, don't forget the All-Star Game coming soon, and visit the T-Mobile All-Star Fan Fest, the world's largest interactive baseball theme park. That'll be at the Duke Energy Convention Center July 10th through the 14th. And you can buy tickets to that right now. Just go to allstargame.com. Arenado is fouled out to short, popped up to left, 2 down, none on. Boy, is Lorenzen impressive tonight. This is a guy we saw in Arizona.
You're right. Finishing his breaking ball, pitching inside with his fastball, showing no fear.
And that's not to knock the job that he has done as a starter in the big leagues. I mean, you look at his starts coming into this one. His major league debut, he went 5, allowed 3 runs, 6 innings, 3 hits, 1 run. His first major league win, beating the Pirates, and in that game in Chicago, he was pitching in and out of trouble the entire game. But the bottom line is 5 innings, 1 run.
Well, that's a great pitch right there. With confidence, it come right in there with your heater. And he was convinced in spring training, and he didn't say it in a cocky way. I had a lot of conversations with Michael Dannon at Goodyear. But he said, you know, I belong on this baseball team. I feel like I've got this team made. He didn't say it in a cocky way, but he just really, he looked around. And of course, that's not taking into consideration the numbers issue, the options that people have, the promises that may have been made to certain players, and so on. But when you size up the best 12 pitchers on the ball club, he's not one of them.
2-2 pitch.
A little speed up action there, I think.
Yeah, a little different look to his delivery there. That was almost Johnny Cueto-esque. Shortened it up and still run it up there at 95.
I'm glad they're watching.
Three-two pitch. Check swing. He did not go around. So that's a first walk since the 2nd inning, and only the 3rd in the game by Lorenzen. Now the left-handed batting Paulson, who has walked and struck out. Rain picking up a bit now. Quite a bit.
But they came prepared tonight, though. sure if you can prepare for that kind of rain.
Boy, this is impressive. 90th pitch of the game, 95 miles per hour. And now trying to put Paulson away and give his team a chance. In the bottom of the 7th inning is Lorenzen. And the runner drifts off the bag, and they should get the out. Cozart to Votto, and that's that. Well, you'll take that all day, every day. Middle of the 7th inning, we're tied at 1.
Ballpark. I'm Jim Day. You know, a couple players on the Reds, a lot of Reds players realize the effect they can have on the community and those that are going through tough times. And today, Billy Hamilton, who's set to hit in this inning, and Todd Frazier really made the day of someone that is battling a rare form of cancer. This is Jake Swanner. He's a 15-year-old freshman at Reading High School. Just came out of a very tough surgery. Now, his schoolmates have done a really cool thing. They have done everything they can to raise awareness and raise funds for him. And after school today, in the auditorium, the whole school gathered to have a little assembly for Jake. And lo and behold, who shows up? Todd Frazier and Billy Hamilton. Now, obviously, it helped Jake Swanner put a smile on his face. But both Frazier and Hamilton, talking to them, said he had just as much effect on them, really motivated them. In fact, Billy said it made his day. And Jake told him when he was leaving that when he gets better, I'll race you next year. They shook on it, and just a terrific day at Reading High School. So we salute all the students. We salute Billy, Todd, but mainly Jake. You're in our thoughts and prayers, buddy.
You certainly are, young man. There's a slow bouncing ball off the bat of Lorenzen, and LeMahieu will throw him out to start this 1-1 game in the bottom of the 7th inning. I tell you, Reading's a really nice little community over there. They take a great deal of pride in their schools, in their entire community, and that does not surprise me at all that they are rallying around Jake. Play a lot of little league games, soccer, baseball, basketball over there, and that's a nice little, that's a really nice community. And it's very much a community. Well, here's Billy trying to make it happen in this 1-1 game with 1 out.
Yeah, 1-1 game. That shows something about the confidence that Brian Price has in Michael Lorenzen. He would bat to lead this inning off. In
the air, right field, 2 out.
Of course, you keep in mind the the players that Brian has at his disposal. If Brandon Phillips can't play, there goes one right-handed hitter. Of course, you got a switch hitter, Tucker Barnhart. You got two left-handers in Brennan Bosch and Skip Schumacher. So maybe when everything was compared, you might as well just send him out there the way he's throwing. Keep him going.
Ball one to Zach Cozart. And now 2-0. Cozart is lined softly to third. Lined out hard to left. Single to center. Was stranded at third in the fifth. He's the last Red to get a hit. Reds only have 4 of them. Colorado with just 2. And 3 of the Reds' 4 hits came in the first 2 innings. Russin, just brought up from the minor leagues to pitch tonight, has allowed 1 hit over the last 5 innings. And there's a 4-pitch walk, which will give Votto a chance. 4th walk by Russin. Enter now for a chance to win a trip to the Major League Baseball All-Star Game on Fox. For you and 3 of your friends or family members, upload 2 photos at foxsports.com/fantastic all-star. You have till June the 3rd. That's next week to do it. Joey 0 for 2 with a walk. LeMahieu gathers himself. They still get the out, and that'll end the inning. That goes second base to first. 1-1. We're off to the 8th. Summary, Billy Hamilton got the Reds on the board with a 2-out single to right, plating Marlon Byrd just in front of the throw from Carlos Gonzalez. And I mean, Michael Lorenzen looked like 1 run would be enough. He was cruising. Well, 3 base runners in the first 2 innings, but got a couple of double play balls. Retired 9 in a row at one point till they gave up the home run with 2 outs on a 1-2 pitch to Nick Hundley in the 5th inning. And that's the only Colorado run of the game, but the Reds have just 1 in the game, and the night is over. 7 outstanding innings tonight from Michael Lorenzen. 2 hits and a run.
Yeah, the 2 hits. I mean, one of those was a solo home run, and if that's your one mistake of the night that gets taken advantage of, you've had a whale of a night. I was wrong about Lorenzen hitting because I thought he would go back out there and pitch the 8th. He's done now, talking to Jeff Pico in the dugout. And he'll give way to Jumbo Diaz. 90 pitches for Lorenzen, twice as many strikes as balls.
Take that all the time, wouldn't you?
Better believe it.
Oh, what a night for Lorenzen.
And to take this tape of Michael Lorenzen, put it on a DVD, and send it down to all the minor leaguers that are on the cusp. Saying, you know what? You can do this too. 21st game for Jumbo.
First pitch swinging to open up this Colorado 8th inning is Paulson, and Pena runs out of room. Strike one. Paulson, a walk and a strikeout. It'll be followed by Hundley, who hit that home run in the 5th, and then it'll be Brandon Barnes, a number 8 hitter. Russ and the pitcher due up 4th. I mean, the Rockies must feel like they have hit the lottery coming in here to Cincinnati. And what I mean by that is their bullpen had thrown more innings than any team in the league by far. Now, obviously, you're playing half of your games at mile-high altitude, and we know all that goes into that from an offensive standpoint, from a pitching standpoint. But they get 6 from their starter, Eddie Butler, yesterday, and so far 7 from a guy they just brought up from the minor leagues today in the game tonight.
Yeah, the Reds thought they were probably catching a break by Jorge De La Rosa, the scheduled starter, veteran left-hander. He's pitched some pretty good games in this time against the Reds. Having a cut on his finger and not being able to make the start tonight. So you bring up an emergency starter out of AAA thinking, oh, this works in our favor.
1-2 the count on Paulson, and the big fella cuts it loose. Broken bat, diving play by Frazier. Can he get him? One hot throw, and he got it. What a play by Frazier, and Votto at the other end. Not only a great play, that's a big play. 1-1 here in the 8th.
Oh, you're not kidding about that. Slice down the left field line, and there's Frazier. You got to get up quick. And you know he's got the arm. Good pick by Votto, and stretch. Look how that ball skips off the wet grass. Not an easy pick at all by Votto. You thought that ball was going to bounce higher. You can see start his glove out about waist high. Had to bring it down around knee height because that ball really skipped on him.
That's great reactions. You saw it there by Votto after the dazzling play by Frazier to start this 8th inning. Hundley bounced into a double play in the 2nd inning, more than made up for that with the home run on a 1-2 pitch to the 2nd deck in the 5th. That tied the game at 1, and that's where we are in the 8th.
Well, they hit a changeup for a home run, and he's seeing nothing but heat from Jumbo.
Two balls and a strike on Nick Hundley. Cozart able to get to it, but no chance to throw out even the catcher. Hundley running up the line. That'll be an infield hit. Well, coming up tonight and after every game here on Fox Sports Ohio, we call it Reds Live, and we invite you to stick around. It's brought to you by Performance Kings Honda. Jim Day standing by in the Fox Sports Ohio condominium. Jeff McCorrell will be making his way down near the Reds dugout, hoping to talk about the end to this 9-game losing streak. Now Brandon Barnes, pitcher spot next. And already Rafael Inoa, switch hitting infielder, stands in the on deck circle. 1-1 on Barnes. One ball and 2 strikes. Somewhat perplexing that Barnes twice has shown bunt during this at bat.
Yeah, you know, where it stands right now with the catcher at first base, you're thinking it's going to take 2 hits to score unless he launches one. So maybe he figured, hey, I'll lay a bunt down, and they're not playing in at all on me. He made the age-old mistake of trying to bunt while he's on the run. Tried it twice.
Just blew him away with 97 heat.
Well, that's reaching back for a little extra, staying behind the baseball.
I guess it's just, you know, you see an at bat like that, Chris, and granted, we don't see the Rockies play all the time. And, you know, here Barnes is just brought up from the minor leagues and trying to make his way. But, man, to really give away a couple of strikes in an at bat like that in a 1-1 game, those were giveaway strikes.
And he didn't really look like he was committed to doing the bunt. It looked like it was almost an afterthought.
Now the runner will move into scoring position on the wild pitch by Diaz.
Pena, no chance.
You know, he can swing the bat a little bit now. 14 hits and 46 trips to the plate. That's a .304 batting average. Now he has been better as a right-handed batter than he has been from where he's batting now from the left side. Obviously a lot more at bats from the left side. 15 of his 46 at bats have come as a pinch hitter, and he's 5 of 15 with 2 runs batted in, coming off the bench.
That's why Jeff Pico's out there talking to him right now, more or less probably just to go over the scouting report. You can't expect Brian Payne to remember everything about every player on this club. Although most of them are probably hard in, soft away. Chases a breaking ball in the dirt. Billy Hamilton doesn't believe in Noah is going to be able to hit the ball over his head. He's tucked himself in pretty tight here in center field. Of course, he's got the ability to go back better than any of the Reds outfielders.
One. 2-1. 1-1 game, 2 outs, runner at second. Bouncing ball. Negron charging. Gets the out, and that'll end the inning. So Jumbo with a scoreless 8th. All right, here we go. Bottom of the 8th. Frazier, Bruce, Pena coming up. We're tied at 1. Rockies will go to their bullpen. This offer is for tonight only. So listen up. For $10 to any game this weekend with the Washington Nationals in town, you can get a view level ticket for $10, but you have to go to Reds.com/FS-Ohio. They'll ask for a code. It's FS Ohio. That's a code as well. And you'll get a $10 view level ticket to see the Reds and the Nationals any of the 3 games, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But you have to do it tonight during our game. What a great offer that is. All right. 7 strong innings by Lorenzen, a scoreless 8th for Jumbo. 7 strong innings by Russin, brought up from the minor leagues. University of Kentucky Wildcat. And now taking over behind him is right-hander Brooks Brown.
Now, a young man from Statesboro, Georgia, now 29 years old. Brown, originally drafted by the Braves, didn't sign, ended up going to play for the University of Georgia Bulldogs, and drafted by the Diamondbacks, first round 2006. Eventually got released, went to the Tigers, then to the Pirates, and a couple of years ago signed a minor league deal with the Rockies, and he made some big league time last year. In fact, Brown was brought up when former Red Nick Massett was put on the disabled list.
All right, Frazier to start it off, and he looks at ball 1 way outside, and footing perhaps a bit of a problem, as we had not a ton of rain, but a decent amount here over the last couple of innings. Pretty much nonstop until now. Brown's crew came out and tried to tidy it up a bit. 2-0 to Todd Frazier, who struck out twice looking and then walked in the 5th inning.
Yeah, they were working on it right as Brown was trying to warm up. And what happens sometimes with young pitchers, rookie type pitchers, they'll take it the way they leave it. Meaning he won't necessarily demand that the grounds crew finish the job to his satisfaction, because he doesn't want to be a guy viewed as holding up the game or, acting like a superstar. So sometimes you don't get what you really want out there if you're in a position like Brown, just a second-year big leaguer.
Fouled away by Frazier. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Now they have a left-handed Boone Logan, who's been around seemingly forever, getting ready in the bullpen. You have a left-handed batter, Jay Bruce, next. And the switch hitting, Brian Pena. Teams generally like to face Pena batting from the right side. So this may be it for Brown, the one batter to start this inning. Very close, 3-2.
That's a pitch that Frazier a couple of years ago would chase about 100% of the time. Little by little getting better and better. You mentioned earlier, Tom, about how he's walking a lot more, and that's why.
Tulowitzki on the short hop, throws out Frazier.
That was a lot tougher play than it looked. I mean, I think he thought for a second he might get there on the big hop, and when he realized he didn't, he had the short hop, and what big leaguers make that play.
They will leave in Brown to face a left-handed batting Bruce. Jay, 1 of 3, doubled in the first, lined out to first in the 3rd, struck out in the 5th.
Pretty good changeup.
Two in a row. Had him way out in front. The Reds had a double by Bruce in the first. They had singles by Bird and the run scoring single by Hamilton in the second inning. Their only hit since the second was a 1-out single by Cozart in the fifth inning. 2-2 to Jay Bruce. Votto 0 for 3 tonight. Frazier 0 for 3 tonight. Pena hitless. Negron hitless. Hamilton knocked in the Reds' only run without 2-out single in the second inning. 2-2 to Jay Bruce. He likes that changeup.
He's got a good one. Yeah, there are a lot of hitters that'll tell you that a changeup from an opposite pitching pitcher, like a righty facing Bruce, a lefty, is a tougher pitch than a left-handed slider, because you just don't see that many, and you don't pick up the spin like you do on a slider.
High one hopper at Paulson, easy for him. 2 up, 2 down for Brown here in the 8th inning, and here comes Pena.
You know, in my opinion, Tom, like one guy who's really been impressive, and you've talked about the pitching performances of the starters the Rockies have had here in this series, is the guy behind the plate, Nick Hundley. I mean, he is like nursing this pitching staff, especially Russin tonight. I mean, through every batter. I mean, giving them hand signs back there, moving back and forth. I mean, he is into it. He gets real low, gives a nice small target in there so the umpire gets a good field of vision, can see the entire strike zone.
This guy a couple of years ago had a really good season for San Diego offensively. They've always loved him behind the plate. Arenado throws in the dirt. What a nice pick over there by Paulson to end the inning. 1, 2, 3 go the Reds. We go to inning number 9. Rockies and Reds are tied at 1 on Fox Sports Ohio.
Is presented by authority of the Cincinnati Reds. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds.
This Saturday, Reds and the Nationals, part of Super Saturdays. The first 25,000 fans in attendance receive that Billy Hamilton bobblehead presented by Cincinnati Bell. For tickets, call 513-381-REDS or visit Reds.com/tickets. And again, make note, please, of that 4-10 start. Well, when you've lost 9 in a row, your closer is not getting a chance to come in and save situations. Seemingly coming in these situations. That's been the story for Aroldis Chapman. He was handed his 3rd loss of the year here yesterday.
And he's going to face the guy that started it all yesterday for the the Rockies when he pitched the 9th inning. Charlie Blackmon worked a walk and eventually came around after a base hit and a sacrifice fly to score the go-ahead run.
And right out of the gate, 100 miles per hour.
Yeah, a little different than yesterday. Chapman yesterday, and Blackmon made a comment in the paper today about him. He said he watched him warm up. He said he wasn't throwing very hard, so he wondered if he was going to be around the zone when he tried to turn it on. Didn't have to wait long today. And he's true, because the first, I don't know, 6 or 8 pitches were 96. We made comment about that yesterday. That's what we used to see out of Chapman. And then last year was a different animal when he came out throwing 100 right out of the gate.
101, but out of the strike zone. Top of the order here for Colorado.
That's got to be hard to lay off of, though.
Well, as Chris mentioned, these front 2 were the guys that started it yesterday. Blackmon drew the walk. LeMahieu, who waits on deck, singled, sending Blackmon on to third. And then Arenado, who was batting in the 3-hole yesterday, had the fly ball, sac fly to center field, plating Blackmon, that broke the 2-2 tie, or 4-4 tie, en route to the 5-4 Rockies win. Three and 2. First time he's thrown a slider in this at bat to Blackmon. Nationals and the Cubbies in another tight one tonight. 2-2 that game in the bottom of the 8th at Wrigley Field. Scoring runs early and often are the Diamondbacks and the Cardinals. 5-4 St. Louis in the 4th. That's one thing Arizona can do. They can score. Swinging a foul ball out of play. Flipping through some of those numbers earlier today, was quite surprised that the Diamondbacks have scored the 2nd most runs among all teams in the National League, only behind the Washington Nationals. And that little man is a happy little man. Yes, sir. Strike 3 called on the slider. Blackmon does not agree, nor did he agree with being run up back in the 6th inning.
He hung in there pretty well. Nice job of holding it right there by Brian Payne without moving the glove too much.
LeMahieu 0 for 3, is struck out, bounced to third, and lined out to Lorenzen. If you're just joining us, what an outing tonight by the 23-year-old Reds rookie right-hander Lorenzen. Allowed 2 hits in 7 innings and only 1 run. Two and 1. Came with a 2-1 slider that stayed up in the strike zone and fouled away by DJ LeMahieu. 2 and 2. Carlos Gonzalez next, the left-handed batter. 1-1. We're in the top of the 9th inning in the break-even pitch. We'll do it again. Off the end of the bat, shallow center, a long run for Billy. He cannot get there. Not much you can do about that. That's just bad luck for Chapman and the Reds, and good luck for LeMahieu.
Well, he had pretty good luck yesterday in that little jam shot that he hit over the second baseman's head that went and advanced the runner into third to set up the sacrifice fly to score the run. So you can swing a hot bat, you can swing a lucky bat. And at the end of the year, they usually don't make a difference.
Yeah, and in 2 days, you're 2 for 2 off Aroldis Chapman. That's living right for DJ.
As they burn the tape.
That's right. All right, now Gonzalez. He takes high for ball one. He bounced into a double play on a ball back up through the middle in the first inning. Grounded out to Votto in the fourth, and then grounded once more to Cozart, who threw him out in the seventh. To Carlos Gonzalez.
You know, when Chapman has missed with that fastball, every one of them has been up and out of the zone.
Two and the count, and here it comes, and another fastball, and again a fastball that is high.
Just a little bit quick coming out of that power level, or that balance point.
You can see that Chapman is working up quite a lather out there on the mound right now. There's a little bit of mugginess to the air tonight, no doubt about that, after some of the rain we've had, but it is not a particularly warm evening. Three and 0 on Chapman to Gonzalez, but he'll throw to first instead. A 4-pitch walk on 4 high fastballs. Chapman is the one guy more than any other pitcher on this Reds team that Brian Price can count on.
And he's also the one pitcher on this team that when he needs to go to the mound or feels like he should go to the mound as pitching coach, it will be to Chapman. Odd, Tom, if you look back to August 17th of last year, that was a game against the Rockies in Colorado. Chapman came in and walked 4 consecutive batters without getting it out.
There's a fastball in the first pitch by Tulowitzki. 2 on, 1 out. 100 off the outside corner.
You know, when you make the kind of money that Tulowitzki makes for the contract, as long as it is, you're always under scrutiny. That looked like a strike according to Foxtrot. And one of the things that they've written about and really scrutinized Tulowitzki, he's chasing pitches high in the zone and out of the zone at a rate that he's never chased them before. And that's one reason why his batting average is off. His swing and misses are way up. His walks are down.
1-1 pitch, and that one was down in the zone, and he hooks it foul on a slider. Each team with a run, each team with 4 hits. Reds have stranded 7. The Rockies have left 2. And we're in the top of the 9th inning. The Reds so desperately trying to end this extended losing streak. Came back after a slider with a 102-mile-per-hour fastball down in the zone. And Tulowitzki able to hang around. Chapman okays a sign with Pena. And now the 1-2 pitch. Runners go, and it swung and pulled a ton, but foul. Well, he jumped all over that slider. And now Pena will come out for a visit.
Yeah, he's had much better swings on the slider than he has on the fastball. I'm surprised that he just doesn't try to run that fastball a couple of times up in the zone until he chases it. Or you look back again on that game last year when Chapman walked 4 in a row. That was the first game of a doubleheader. And the Reds went on after that game and including that game to lose 7 in a row. The second 7-game losing streak they'd have in the second half last year.
The other one came to begin the second half when they got swept at Yankee Stadium. So to know that Chapman has never allowed runs on 3 consecutive days in his career. Of course, he gave up the run on Sunday, mop-up roll. Gave up the run where he suffered the loss in the 1-run decision, one coming in the 9th inning yesterday. And now 2 on and 1 out, and another meeting on the mound.
Well, you know, I think that Brian Pena is going to be adamant about, hey, you throw what I want up here. And Chapman keeps shaking him off and shaking him off, and I can't really tell. With the runner at second base, they're disguising their signs, but I'm not sure if he's shaking him off to get to a fastball or shaking him off to get to a slider. Or maybe he wants to go with a changeup. But he's throwing 100 miles an hour. Maybe a couple inches up and out of the zone might be a start place to start.
And there you go.
Even a couple of feet out of the zone will work.
So you laid it out right from the get-go. Tulowitzki chasing those pitches. He wasn't getting the pitches, and they finally go to the well, and that's that. 2 down in the inning. 1 more to go, and this right now might be the toughest out in their lineup. Now Lorenzen did a number on Arenado, but we told you coming in 7 hits in the last 2 games. And looks at the first pitch slider at 89. Boy, that's a dangerous spot. That looked to be right in the heart of the plate.
Didn't have a lot of bite.
And there's another off-speed pitch.
That was a cross up there, I think, unless it was just a slider that was so high. Look, maybe it wasn't a cross up, and maybe it was the fact that Brian Pena goes up for this. Then look, if they expects it to break, no. Yep, he thought that ball was going to break. He actually missed it by getting underneath it. I got the feeling he's doing a little babysitting out there tonight.
Well, right now it's time for the big boy crowd. This is adults only in a 1-1 game in the 9th inning, and 2 outs, runners at second and third. And that's 101, and Arenado's behind in the count, 1-2. Inning over. Chapman comes with the heat to blow away Tulowitzki and then Arenado. And the Reds will bat in the bottom of the ninth, trying to make Chapman a winner on this dig. Sports Ohio brought to you by your local Toyota dealers, proud sponsor of the Cincinnati Reds. Lit up brightly along the banks of the Ohio Great American Ballpark, the home of Major League Baseball's All-Star Game, July the 14th. 1-1 on this May the 26th as the Reds will bat in the last of the ninth inning. And they're going to run Brown back out there, and why not? I mean, he made it look easy in a 1-2-3/8 inning. Yesterday, Marlon Byrd went the other way with a home run. Turned out to be a game-tying home run. That coming in the Reds' sixth inning before the Rockies would defeat Chapman in the ninth. 2-0. Negron to follow. You do have an option of batting Skip Schumacher as a left-handed batting middle infielder for Negron. On 2-0, Bird looking dead red and didn't get it. Pulled the string on him again.
Boy, is that a good changeup.
Back with 93 miles per hour on the fastball after that changeup. So Negron for the time being in the on-deck circle, and then it would be Aroldis Chapman's spot in the 8-hole. Reds have one hit since the second inning. Very close 2-2. Very close. Wow. Popped up in a foul ground. Out of play.
got thinking about that story you told about Bernie Tebbetts earlier in the game, about him calling balls and strikes to help out the umpire that was woozy and dizzy behind the plate. I'm wondering on that pitch before to Marlon Byrd, wonder what Birdie would have done on that.
Yeah. Ring him up. Once more the payoff to Marlon Byrd. Leadoff walk.
All right, we'll see how Brian Price plays this. You think he'll play it the conventional, old-fashioned way here with Negron, a good handler of the bat, laying a bunt down? What do you think? Yeah, I do. I mean, you put Negron into a situation here where he can really help the ball club just by laying a bunt down.
But she does to perfection. Well done by Negron. Byrd in scoring position carries the winning run. So Negron able to handle that bunt perfectly. And here comes Skip Schumacher, who will bat for Aroldis Chapman. Schumacher got a couple of starts over the weekend. Very good pinch hitting numbers this year for Schumacher. He had doubles in consecutive pinch hitting appearances going into that Cleveland series.
They're going to walk him here? Nope. Pitch to him.
Schumacher with a chance to be the hero. Ball one. Saw those pinch hitting numbers for Schumacher. Very good. He's knocked in 3 runs as a pinch hitter. And his 4th right here would be a game winner. 1-1. Byrd scored the only Reds run all the way back in the 2nd inning on the base hit by Billy Hamilton. He has Tulowitzki playing behind him in the shift, but he's a good 15 feet behind him. And Tulowitzki has made no step toward that second base bag. 1-1 delivery now to Schumacher. Base hit, fair ball. Rounding third is Byrd. Reds win. Reds win. The losing streak is over. It was nearly 2 weeks ago on a Thursday night when the Reds beat the San Francisco Giants. It was their last victory. That was on the 14th of this month. And here 12 days later, just fair. Schumacher, our steel power tool performer, his 5th game-ending walk-off base hit, and it's been nearly 4 years since his last one. The 9-game skid over the celebration on at Great American Ballpark as Schumacher delivers the goods in the bottom of the 9th inning, and Jeff Piccolo standing by with the hero.
Thank you very much, Tom, with Skip Schumacher. And Skip, it's kind of apropos that you, of all people, got to break this skid for this team, because one of the leaders of this team, obviously, and you've said it yourself, you got off to such a slow start, but of late you've really come on and relished this pinch hitting role.
We needed a win. I mean, we needed to win in the worst way, and it didn't matter who did it. We needed to go in and put some smiles on our faces and have a happy clubhouse for a change. And you know, from the coaching staff to the players to the clubhouse guys, we needed this win.
I'll tell you what, that never gets old. That never gets old. I'll tell you what, Skip, that, as I just said, it never gets old. Fifth time that you've been able to win a game like that. But yeah, you're talking about this. When a team gets going good, they always play loosey-goosey and they have a smile on the face. A lot of guys are pressing. As a veteran on this team, how did you get these guys to calm down and just go out and play baseball and have fun again?
Well, it wasn't me, but it started with Lorenzen. We needed a good start out of our pitching and pitching staff, and Lorenzen's just been so good for us. Every start, he's given us a chance to win, and for such a young kid to do that for us, he was our stopper, and we needed a stopper today, and he gave our offense a chance to win, and I think gave up 3 hits, 7 innings. I mean, he's the real deal. He's something special, and I'm glad he's on our team, and I'm just glad we're winning.
You guys have gotten so much bad news this year, injury-wise. Now knowing that Johnny's going to be back soon and stuff, you get the victory. You just try to build on little victories like this, right?
Our offense is good. We just haven't got that big hit, or we keep getting guys on base. We're going to come through, and we have proven guys on our team, and I believe in these guys, and we've taken some hits the last couple of years, but I still believe in who we have in that clubhouse.
Skip, appreciate it, and thanks.
All right, thank you.
Good job. Skip Schumacher, Tom, boy, I'll tell you what, that's one happy guy and one happy team down the tunnel.
And we talk all the time about so many guys are easy to root for on this Reds club. And right at the very top of that list, the hero tonight, Skip Schumacher, as the Reds win it 2-1 on his base hit, plating Marlon Byrd, who led off the inning with a walk, was bunted over by Negron. And then after the hit for a change, smiles from your Cincinnati Reds. Time for Reds Live, the post-game edition. Jim Day standing by in the Fox Sports Ohio condo next.